Uh, Good evening, everyone, to all our viewers from around the world. Thank you for connecting to the India Tourism Mart, the leadership sessions that we have. As you're aware, the whole concept of the leadership session is to build a narrative whereby the public sector and the private sector works together to create new tourism opportunities for India. Uh, for all our modules, we have been seeing that we have addressed different verticals of Indian tourism. And in this particular module, we are going to address the most critical segment of the natural heritage that India has in terms of and how can we create responsible adventure tourism around it. My name is Ashish Gupta. I'm the consulting CEO of Faith. Thank you very much for joining in. Namaste. And I now request Swadesh, who is the immediate past president of Adventure Tourism Association of India, to take over and run with this lovely panel that we have. Thank you and namaste once again.
Thank you, Ashish. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon around the world, especially in India. Good evening, good afternoon. It's a great pleasure for me to be present here on behalf of the adventure tourism fraternity in the country. And I'm grateful to Mr. Javalkar, Secretary Tourism, Government of Uttarakhand, who is here with us as one of the panelists. We feel honored, sir. Welcome to the panel. I have with me Brigadier Ashok Abbey, who is the President of the Indian Mountaineering Foundation, of apex body of the mountaineering world in this country, and who has a huge experience of climbing expeditions. Ashok, welcome to the panel. I have Vishwas Mukhija with me. He's the president of the ATY Adventure Tour Operators Association of India. Vishwas is runs the very finest adventure company in India and has been himself a adventurer, has done nice treks in the Himalayas and some climbing expeditions. And I think we are waiting for Mr. Shannon Stowell, the president of the ATA, who will be joining us. But let's start. And because time difference for recording of our things, so therefore we will be, hopefully he joins us sooner. Adventure tourism after the COVID-19 has changed. We have been all has facing a great difficulty passing the time in the last 12 months. I'm grateful to Faith that they have decided to have this event so that we can explain to the world, especially the Indian adventure community, fraternity, the travel trade, and the general public, that time has come for us to work. Very interesting, I must say, that the going has moved to the domestic market, and within the domestic market, it is the adventure, the activity holidays, the nature-based holidays, which is actually taking shape. To give you an example, there is a very beautiful peak, the Kedar Kantha in Garhwal, in the Uttarakhand Himalayas. Well, amazingly, on the 31st of December, there were hundreds of people making a queue to climb the small mountain. There were every day 50, 60, 70, 80 people have been going. And the age bracket of was very young. So that is a new trend which has started in the industry today. There is the youngsters are traveling around the Himalayas, and there is a positive view of the fact that we're going to have a boom once the COVID-19 effect is over, not only domestic but inbound also. So I'm grateful to my panelists today. And I just want to one more quick word to tell you the global adventure tourism expenditure is almost 683 billion US dollar. That is 30% of the global tourism expenditure. That's 2.3 trillion US dollar is total. Adventure tourism is fastest growing segment under tourism, while domestic leisure tourism shows green shoots of recovery with the emergence of revenge travel during the new year. The industry expects that the consumer behavior and will see an orbit shift, with safety, hygiene becoming the most critical factor for planning travel and vacation. The tour operators and businesses need to adopt a new change consumer and believe in consumer behavior. With these introductory words, I will like to once again welcome Mr. Dilip Javalkar. Sir, thank you very much, sir, for joining us today. I would request you to start from you, Eve. My first request to tell us, despite so much of an effort in all of us working together, both at central and state governments and the industry together, tourism is still needed to be supported for survival and revival. How can that go about being corrected? Maybe I'll hear your thoughts on it, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Greetings to you all, my fellow panelists and all the viewers. It's my privilege to be amongst you today over here. As we know, 2020 has been an unprecedented year with COVID-19 crisis affecting almost lives and livelihoods of millions of people around the world. Oh. However, among the businesses and economic activities that took the brunt of this pandemic, unfortunately, tourism and hospitality sector remained the most impacted sector, and that's what is documented. That need not be questioned. Particularly in the state like Uttarakhand, where the economy is highly dependent on tourism activities, this pandemic situation created a lot of anxiousness and upended day-to-day lives of the resident all across the state. That has been the fact, and that has affected the our industry. That has affected also the adventure activities per se all over the globe. Okay, however, I completely I'm on board with you when you say that everyone is trying for the revival. The central government of India, the state governments of the respective states, the local communities, various associations, all are trying to join their hands and work the solution together. But it ultimately what we are trying to do is probably ensure the supply side, stabilizing the supply side. So what is important is to stabilize. What is important is to encourage the demand side as well. The more and more people safe traveling, they feel safe actually coming down to the such destinations. They feel comfortable with the kind of new environment that they will be facing with. So I think those are also the issues that we need to attend to, and subsequently we will end up doing that. However, like a good adventure tourist, I would also say that every challenge comes with equal opportunities, and we must be proactive and innovative in our approach when we face such an unprecedented situation. If I talk of Uttarakhand per se, during lockdown, we remained quite vigilant. Safety is always a concern. We followed the lockdown protocols. We followed the all travel protocols. We opened very gradually. We had a phase-wise opening of all the activities. So I guess that has paid, per se for the society, for the country, for our industry also. Though it had been a trying time, but it has really helped us sail through that tough time. And now that the policies of COVID response are liberalized, travel is opening up, people are finding it more comfortable, I think this stream will start. To talk of certain specifics, I would say that when we realize that we have to face this kind of a situation, one particular situation which we do have here in Uttarakhand is we have large number of people who work in the hospitality industry all over the globe. And unfortunately, many of them had to return back to Uttarakhand with very uncertain future. However, to take the advantage of their talent and experience, we launched some entrepreneur development schemes in Uttarakhand, and we changed the way how we manage and process this particular entrepreneur promotion activities, mostly going on online, mostly certification, validating certifications online, and this has actually helped. So this is like ultimately what probably we are looking at is the setting up a new normal. And I think that is also very important, that setting up a new normal and getting comfortable with that. I think that is very important. Another thing, and which pertains more to our adventure tourism activities, I would say, is the more focus is now on the rural tourism. So people are now wanting, and that's a fact, that's even now the data also comes that people are more than going to some urban places and shopping places, they are still in a big way, they are they are coming to the hills, they are coming to the remote places. And I guess that's where your observations also fits in, wherein you said when the immediately after opening up in a Kedar Katha, like a remote small mountain, has a big number of visitors over there. So this is a change in the preferences of a travels, and I think the industry, particularly adventure industry, will have to adapt to it, and then we are well positioned in that particular this thing. So what we have done is to promote the trekking activities, we have introduced a trekking cluster scheme wherein we are promoting a homestay all along these treks. So I think these are some of the initiatives which we are taking just to promote the entrepreneurs. But now, as I have been telling you, just to promote, focus more on the demand aspect of it, we have opened up our tourism activities. Now we are going, we are participating in the marts, we are going online, we are conducting webinars, and of course we are now having our own festivals. We had a Terry Lake festival today. From 1st March our yoga festival starts. So wellness, adventure, everything we want to start. Of course we need to take a precaution for it. I do see now, and back quickly, have this kind of a vigilant and systematic approach to things.
Thank you, Mr. Javalkar. This is absolutely very grateful that your state is very proactive and helping the revival of the tourism industry. We have seen it ourselves because we are all of us very active in your Uttarakhand state. And thank you for your support. I will shift to Vishwas Mukhija, who is from the travel industry, the president of the Adventure Tour Operation of India. Vishwas, tell us something about your association. How is we connect? Exactly what are the steps you're taking in after post-COVID situation? We're still in COVID, but we are getting out of it. But also, I need to request you to kindly do share with us, despite so much of an effort in all of our associations working together with the government, tourism as well still needs to be supported for survival and revival. How can we go through about be connected? What exactly you think? Mr. Javalkar has given us some idea, but I would like to hear from you your views on this aspect. Then we come to Ashokji about the mountaineering part of it. Go ahead, Vishwas.
Uh, Thank you, Sudeshji. Good afternoon, good morning, people who signed in from all over the world for this session. My name is Vishwas Mukhija. I'm here in the capacity of being the president of Adventure Tour Operators Association of India. We are a national body of almost 500 members who specialize in outdoor activities or outdoor cultural multi-activity holidays around across India, not only in the Himalayas. Yes, I think pandemic has hit us. I mean, like everybody says, across the world, and India is no different that way. The association has been engaging with its members ever since, I would say, April last year. We've kept the entire membership intact. We've kept entire membership going. We've kept several weekly. I mean, we used to have Saturday sessions with our members or Zoom calls, which in the beginning were very thinly attended. But as people saw more value and learnings, a lot of people started joining these weekly Saturday membership talks, I would say. So what we did was we tried to educate within the community, the members, what products each one of us was selling, which means that we were able to communicate in a far greater sense in the new normal on Zoom, that somebody sitting in Kerala was selling a trekking holiday or a zip line. Somebody sitting in Nagaland was doing a tribal tour, somebody sitting in Ladakh was promoting a trekking in Ladakh or whatever activity he was doing. So I think membership really got together. I think it brought everybody closer. And I do know that there were a lot of stronger bonds built during this period within the community as an association. And I think as things open up already in India, especially domestically, the revival has happened much faster, as Mr. Javalkar just mentioned. So there is already cross-selling happening. A lot of operators in ATOI also do inbound business, dealing with clients from around the world, but that is on a pause. As we say, I think for now it's a longer pause. We thought things might get going by the summer, but it doesn't look like. So I think some of my colleagues in the association are happily doing some domestic business. So I think it's work in progress, as I say, to be very honest. Now, coming to the point of the revival, Sudeshji, am I right? Or survival, that's what I think you had mentioned going forward. I think it's a very important point to consider. When we talk about survival, I think we have already survived, and the fact is that we are all here, The fact of industry is even stronger than it was before.
That's
Because
correct.
because these 11 months have, I think, have made us even stronger. It has tested our resolve. It has tested everything about us, and which we never even thought of doing. And I think adventure travel or outdoor active travel is the fastest growing industry around the world, and so it is growing here. And India has this, the new young India, as Sudeshji mentioned, which is stepping out and exploring. My only advice to this community or this lot of this generation of people, that yes, it is great to step in the outdoors, but you are playing with your own lives. So that's where operators or associations like ATY steps in, where its members are very qualified across India to conduct these outdoor activities in a safety, sustainable manner. We also have to ensure, as a community, that we protect our environment. I'm not very keen on sending hundreds of clients to a trekking trail, because our environment is very fragile, I think. And so we are, as a community, I think ATY, we are in a way, and of course, my colleagues from Uttarakhand and President IMF is here. We are together. We are custodians of our nature. So we have to ensure that we balance it out in a good way with our business, still leave the places as pristine as we left, so that people can come back and enjoy more instead of destroying our environment. So revival will happen, sir. We have already survived. The revival is on its way.
Thank you, Vishwas. I'll come back to you soon. Brigadier Abhi, this is a question which is in my mind for the last now many months. Safety is a very prime important, and you being principal of NIM4 and actively pursue the case of safety. For example, this accident takes place in the mountains. What exactly is to happen and things like this? In your opinion, how industry, government, and IMF, which is actually the nodal body of the adventure tour. Mountaineering is the mother of adventure tourism, and you being the head of the mountaineering community in the country, actually indirectly looking after the entire adventure, land-based adventure thing. So is a water-based. May I kindly explain to us what IMF is doing, along with cooperation with the tourism industry and the government, for the safety of a tourist and skill development? Both things I would like you to cover if possible.
Okay, good evening, everybody, and wonderful to hear the distinguished panelists before me speaking. That is the Secretary Tourism and Vishwas, President ATY. I also must compliment Faith for organizing a forum like this, because as we come on to the real busy months, very important to sit down and exchange ideas and as to know what is happening and what is it that we can really do. And like, Secretary Tourism said, that create that demand awareness. So firstly, let me just reiterate, what Swadesh just said, that mountaineering is the mother of all adventure activities. And everything really starts from this activity. And the Indian Mountaineering Foundation, being the apex national body for mountaineering, trekking, and all allied activities, especially the land activities, has a key role to play in concert with the state governments and with organizations like the ATY, because while the basic, framework and the basic way to climb the mountains is given by us, but actually it is organizations like the ATY who are really the drivers of this trade. And of course, the young Indian adventure enthusiast who is now getting aware of Mother Nature and is wanting to climb. And that example what Swadesh gave about Kedar Kanta also possibly comes from the fact that, the whole year there was no activity. So suddenly when that first window came in, that cooped up effect of 2020 really translated into people possibly just coming out and, venting their feelings, which to my mind in the year 2021 is going to be there in good numbers, because you also have to make up for the backlog of 2020. So I have a hunch that this is really going to take a certain good proportion, and it goes without saying that we have to be prepared. Now, safety is something fundamental, and rightly said that safety and hygiene are two very important aspects of any activity, and especially so for an activity like mountaineering. As you are aware, the geographical location of India is such that we are not a small country where the Alps is split up. These mountains are huge, and the 2,400-kilometer long Himalayan range, apart from what is there a little bit in Bhutan and in Nepal, rest virtually everything is here in India. So it's a huge range, and the challenges are that much big. And we have states today who are looking at this differently. So safety is very important, and it is a constant endeavor to make sure that safety is looked on to with a lot of big glasses, because accidents are bound to happen no matter what norms you take, or what you follow, because that is the nature of the game, that is the nature of the beast. And irrespective of what you do, you will have cases where untoward accidents do take place, despite all the precautions and the safety norms being followed. So essentially, the Indian Mountaineering Foundation for foreign expeditions who come in, it begins right when they actually apply to us. We see their credentials, and of course, for the Indian expeditions, we make sure that their objective is in consonance with their ability. The next thing is that with foreign expeditions, we have LOs who go around, and it is our endeavor now to make sure that every foreign expedition has a satellite phone to communicate. It has their own radio sets for inter-expedition communication. Now, we are also ensuring, and this is again, since the President ATOI is here, we would like you to ensure and bring it to through your agents who work, that it is always good to get people insured, those who are coming into the mountains, for air evacuation. And at the IMF, we are now having a good look at this, that any expedition party which is coming, the members should preferably not only be insured, but also be insured for air evacuation. So safety is very important. And like I said, the idea is to make sure that the expeditions get some information about the weather. They get to know about the terrain where they are going. And most importantly, they get full information about the mountain through the IMF where they are likely to go. So safety is a very, very important issue. And we do hope that with the people who are being trained into this, which is the next point with regard to your skill development, that only those climbers or those young adventure lads who want to come and climb should be trained as per the national norms, as per the laid down guidelines, and they have to have that requisite experience, whether it's a basic mountaineering course or an advanced mountaineering course or a search and rescue course, and be fully qualified to undertake that climb they are actually venturing out to take. So these are certain aspects, and we are here to see that when an accident takes place, whether it is coordination with the Indian Air Force or it is coordination with the state government, the response is quick, and the effort which goes out to reach out to that expedition in distress is in very good time. So these are all paths which work simultaneously. Nothing is seen in isolation, and it's a combined effort. So I can only assure everyone that we are looking at this in a very, very detailed way. Coming on to the skill development, yes, we have the national institutes which are functioning. And the good thing is that, all the national institutes are full. In fact, the Nehru Institute of Mountaineering, the principal was telling me that for the next 2 years, they are chock-a-block and there is really no place. So this just shows the kind of awareness of the young Indians to take on to the mountains. And in these institutes, it's not only Indians who train, but also foreigners who come and train. So the skill development is something which is going hand in hand with the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. We are also trying to structure on certain skills which are actually existing in the adventure trade, but we want to actually formalize their certification so that there's a benchmarking and they can actually go and explore and do what they have to do in whatever capacity, in whatever organization they have to do. So skill development is something very, very important. And like I said, that this is something which is going to go hand in hand. Thank you, Sudesh. I hope I've answered your questions.
No, great. Thank you, Ashok. This is a very well you mentioned it. I want to come back to Jawarkar Sahab. What is happening in Uttarakhand is ski. It's a huge place where ski could be a very important component of the adventure tourism industry, especially winter. I see this year there has been a huge demand of people want to see snow. And therefore, I wonder what exactly state of Uttarakhand is doing to promote ski holiday or ski expedition and things like this. Please could you share with us?
Yeah, of course. But if I can just take a clue from Mr. Abe's earlier statement, and the very important pertinent point which you had raised was about the skill development. If you see the state's perspective, when we look at this particular thing, it's not only for the safety of the game and promoting of the game in the long term. So we look at it as a big employment opportunity in a place like Uttarakhand, where we have n number of adventure activities. It is important that we do promote these young kids into getting a proper training, and then subsequently following the protocols which are there given by the industry, and that will generate we do see it as a big source of employment for us. And that is where also the skill development matters, standardization matters, accreditation matters, and promoting the sports and promoting the activities internationally, nationally, based on the credential of the states with respect to their competencies to handle these particular games and these particular activities. I think that is also important, and that has to be impressed upon in the interest of the industry per se. Okay, now coming back to Auli skiing. As you know, Auli has India's only FIS approved slope. However, unfortunately, Auli is not as blessed like Gulmarg. We do not get snow there for a long period of time. So this year had been one of those unfortunate years in which we didn't get adequate snow. Of course, we do have artificial snow making equipments installed there and which are functional. We have been trying creating snow continuously. However, that is not good enough to host a proper event. So we were allotted the senior national skiing event for the state. We were supposed to host it, but unfortunately, because of the given snow conditions, we had to cancel it. Though this is, of course, unfortunate, but at the same time, it is important that to realize that, somewhere we have to accept that the nature is changing. Probably climate change is the reality. And whenever we get and indulge into these kind of activities, we need to be more and more responsible. I think that is a takeaway that we have from the Auli's experience. And in past 4 years, we had to cancel the events for 2 years. However, Auli per se, it's not only the skiing destination. The state government is promoting it as the winter destination, and there are far too many activities which go around during that particular season. If you see Uttarakhand tourism trend per se, like we do have a cyclical trend in Uttarakhand, because our pilgrimages start. Then for 6 months we have a big rush of pilgrims, and then suddenly it drops down. So these particular winter activities, they will hold back this particular segment up. And from that point of view, we are developing Auli. It's a beautiful slope. You can see the best view of Nanda Devi from that place, and Nanda Devi peak from that place. And of course, these activities around that are really thrilling there. We do have engaged an international consultancy which will look into these issues. We are thinking of whether there is any possibility of extending the slope in a high altitude. So there is a slope called Gorso, whether there is a possibility of developing it. But of course, it will have to comply with our environment standards, which are prescribed there. And also we need to see the feasibility. So we have launched a consultancy for that, and we are hopeful that another 5-6 months time we will get the reports from them. Unfortunately, the international consultants, they are not traveling, they are not visiting. So everything is linked, and this loop is getting longer and longer. But yes, we are very ambitious about it, and we are very proud that Auli is in our state, and we want to take the maximum benefit out of it.
Vishwas, tell me about your views, your assessment of the status of our B2B adventure partners around the world. Are those channels still intact, or have many been impacted professionally or personally during this pandemic? What do you think of is, what do you exactly government has to do to assist you if possible?
Thank you, Captain Sir, for this question. I think, to be honest, the channels are intact, sir. I mean, I personally, the other hat which I wear, I run my own travel companies as well, apart from running ATUI. I would say from the companies I've been working last 25 years, maybe 2 or 3 of them in Europe closed shop, but rest, everything is intact, to be honest. Everybody has held their ground. Everybody has kept themselves busy with something or the other. Everybody has scaled down their overheads, and they are waiting for the revival of international tourism to fly here and there. And that is what also I've also been speaking to some other colleagues who are in the inbound business. So there is this word which I've been hearing last 2.5 weeks now, revenge tourism. So I think that revenge tourism are the 2 words to watch out for going forward for the industry. And we will, I think the industry will bounce back. International industry will also bounce back to a greater extent and higher numbers. That is, I think, I hope I've answered my question, sir. Second part of your question, I think, is the government needs to do. I think there are 2 things here. We talk about adventure travel in India and India as a destination. We have two segments. One is, of course, the growing domestic travel segment, which you just discussed, I think, and everybody put their views, thoughts, And then is the inbound, from across the world. So both need to be dealt at different levels. I think there has to be a global campaign for pushing India as a safer destination going forward. India is already supplying medicines, COVID medicines to the world, as we know. We are starting our own. We've already started our own vaccination. So I think a good message has to go out to the international fraternity. And I think through this ITM, I think we are doing exactly what we are doing already with the help of Ministry of Tourism. Second, I think for the domestic tourists, the government needs to go all out in terms of advertisements for, as we say, our national heritage, which is immense. I mean, we are a one-stop solution for every outdoor activity. I say India is one country and many worlds, and that is how it is. And I think more and more our fellow Indians are beginning to realize that. So since they can't get onto a plane and go to somewhere in the world and spend their money, and as we have seen, I mean, I heard Gulmarg is sold out till end of March, and so is some other parts of Kashmir, and I heard similar stories from Uttarakhand, from Himachal. But on the other hand, when we talk about real adventure travel or outdoor active holidays, the government needs to step in where it needs to highlight that this possibly should be conducted by state recognized tour operators or ATO recognized tour operators, so everybody gets a job and people come back safe and the environment stays safe. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Vishwas. Coming to Brigadier Abhi Ashok. Ashokji, please tell us, the climbing expeditions to these countries have reduced for the last many, keeps on reducing it. My question is, Indian adventure tourism operators need your support for bidding for international either adventure activities or bringing some major there should be more expedition to come to India, but we need your support. At present, we are struggling. And what exactly the IMF policy would be? Take help to give support to the fraternity tourism and adventure tour operators. One and second question is, you must share with us about the IMF effort in taking our contingent to Olympics, especially the adventure, the climbing, rapid climbing thing is one of the sports. What exactly you're doing? Because that is a source from actually where the tour will be generated. They will come. Once we finally, we all of us have to keep moving on, and young generation will be coming up, and those young generation we need. If they are Olympic awardees, things like this, will make a lot of difference. So I need your comments on that.
Okay, firstly, the IMF is there to, promote, sustain, and nurture mountaineering in any form. And it is equally committed to supporting all the state governments, because in our country, we are fortunate that every Himalayan state has a different identity, and every state has its own charm. So, it cannot be Uttarakhand versus Himachal or versus Ladakh. This is all part of different shades of the same, pie. So this is very important that we are fortunate to have this tremendous variety, whether it is Sikkim, Arunachal, going all the way to Ladakh, to J&K, to Uttarakhand, to HP, very, very important. Now, the IMF is very conscious of the fact that, we would like that maximum number of mountains and mountain climbers come to the Indian Himalaya. And like I said, it's huge. We are fortunate that because of our spacing and the kind of mountains we have, there is no crowding out here. It's not that, people are trying to climb over each other and get to the top, or, well, whatever they're doing, apart from certain trails, which are very popular, and that's a different topic, of course. So we are very fortunate that this is the gift to mankind. So I must share with you that presently there are 340 peaks which are open in the Indian Himalaya, out of which 285 of these are below 6,500 meters. And we have certain peaks which are above 7,000 meters, and almost about actually 12 of them, and about almost 43 of them between 6,500 to 7,000 meters, just to give you an idea. So we are promoting these, and the open peaks which are there, it is our endeavor at the IMF that should any tour operator come to us, or if there is a query coming from abroad, because we have to give the clearance, to the expedition to get its visa from there, it is going to be in double quick time. And once we know that an expedition is coming, it is coming into the open area, the IMF within 48 to 72 hours will clear everything. And if we get this intimation in advance, we will also make sure that the liaison officer, who is actually mandated by the government of India as a security thing, is also there to meet the expedition, to marry up, and in the quickest possible time, they can go. So we have everything today is online on our website. You can go, you can apply online. There is a payment gateway. You can come to us. We give the clearance. And whenever we give the clearance, we inform the state and all the hierarchy in that state, whether it's the forest department, or it's the district magistrate, or it is the army, or one of the central armed police, forces, or whatever it is. So we make sure that this information trickles down to everyone. Also, we are ensuring that, the environment, like you mentioned, is well looked after. The LO who goes is ensuring that with the foreign expeditions, everything which goes comes back. Similarly, the Indian expeditions, they have to fulfill certain criteria to make sure that the environment is clean. Also through the IMF, like you have your channels, we also have our channels, wherein we are getting in touch with the International Climbing Federation, the UIAA and the UAAA. And we are reaching out and now telling them that India is as safe a destination to climb as any other country in the world. So please come to us. Come and climb here and get a feel of our mountains, which are unparalleled anywhere. So it's a multi-pronged, kind of an approach. And the idea is to make sure that, it has a multiplier effect as far as the adventure tour operators are concerned. and economically our sections benefit. And like, Dilip Jawalkar mentioned, that, that they're organizing homestays, and that is what actually is ecotourism. So we are all here to promote and make sure that maximum expeditions come in here. Of course, the environmental factor has to be looked into. But by far and large, let me also state one thing today, that bulk of the mountaineers who come, they need to be treated as high-end tourists. They are fully aware because they are fully trained. And they are also aware that if the environment is not sustainable, well, then this game really cannot go on for long. So the mountaineer has to be looked on to with a lot of responsibility. Suresh, coming on to your second question with regard to the Olympics, well, let me just put it like this, that as of now, there is no gold medal being awarded for any mountaineering climb per se. But yes, there are two factors which have now come in a major way. One is the sport climbing, which is coming in. And sport climbing is something which is quantifiable. It is something which is constructed or which is undertaken on a constructed artificial wall, depending on the competition you want to have, whether it is boulders, speed, or lead, whatever you want to have. So the Olympics are very much there. The IMF is the apex body for sport climbing. In fact, again, we are interacting with the government to give us more resources. So this activity can also be taken to its logical conclusion. The new thing which has come up now is ice climbing. And the ice climbing per se is also now the sporting angle of ice climbing. Like you have sport climbing, which is the sporting angle for rock climbing. You have now ice climbing, which is coming up in a big way. And in fact, we are sending a young boy now to participate in the youth ice climbing championships in Russia. Just yesterday, I met him, and the IMF is sending him. So of course, we have to create the infrastructure, because climbing normal ice is different from the sporting aspect. And similarly, for sport climbing on an artificial surface is a little bit different from, what it is for the natural surface.
Sure.
So these are variations. We are aware, we are doing our bit to make sure that we have the right infrastructure, and hopefully in the years to come, the effort which is being put in now, you will see it fructifying in the times to come. So we are inching, and we are ensuring that the younger generation is aware, so that we have more number and more talent coming in, and we can then afford to have the best. Thank you, Suresh. I hope I've answered your question.
Lovely. Thank you very much. It's great. Before we conclude, may I request each panelist to speak. Jawalkar Saab, could you just have a final words and tell the young generation who's listening to you, not only Uttarakhand, but otherwise in the entire country, what your thing is and what exactly they should do to see that the business grows as many folds, because we all expect some positive situation to happen.
Yes, of course. What I believe is the worst is over, and we have all the reasons to believe in that. Secondly, we will have to get adapted to the new normal. And I think that in a way is a good idea. It is a good learning for us, because it's important that we are sensitive towards the ecology. It's important that our activities, how they impact the nature on which our all activities are sustaining, how it impacts. To understand that, it's very important. So it's not only the thrill part of it, but it has to be also an educative part of it. It's not only the exciting part of it, but it has to be, the responsible part of it. We need to see that we just don't just go and enjoy the place, but we also need to see that we just leave a big value out there, and we actually contribute in a more constructive way to there. And I think that that kind of orientation also must it's our responsibility to bring about that kind of orientation in the new travelers, in the new adventure seekers. And once we do that, I think that will be a big service that we will be able to do. However, at the same breath, I would like to assure that based on my interaction with the central government and the other fellow colleagues in the other states and the associations which are associated with this front, I think everybody is very much committed that we revive fast and we revive safely. As some of the fellow panelists did mention, it's important that state government play more active roles in particularly in the field of ensuring the safety, skilling, and promotion internationally. And I think the state government would do that. It's in state government's interest. It is in the interest of everyone. So I think now the worst is over, and I think it's now time to smile and then look more positively towards the future. And I see many people coming up over here and enjoying this place. I'm looking forward to that.
Thank you. Very positive note. Really, we are all looking forward to the new normal, and I'm very sure that things will bounce back. Vishwas, your final words to the entire industry listening to you.
I think thank you, sir. Well, great session, everyone. I think we've learned so much, and I think, taking some steps forward here. For all the participants of IT Mode listening from around the world or within the country, I think, as the president of Adventure Tour Operators Association of India, my closing words are: send your clients to India. They are in good hands. We can assure you of that. We have very, very credible operators here. We have very credible industry here. We have bodies like IMF supporting us. We have states like Uttarakhand supporting the industry. And all of us are synced in together to ensure that we grow forward and we grow responsibly. So thank you, sir, for having me here.
Thank you, Vishwas. Ashok, you have been a teacher in a name. You have been a leader in expedition to Mount Everest and Lhotse. You have a huge experience. Tell something to the young people listening to you, especially the young entrepreneurs, the tour operators. I see a lot of youngsters coming in the business of adventure tourism, and also the staff is listening, and everybody is watching. What exactly? How should they? What exactly your final words to them is to grow rapidly, faster?
Okay, Swadesh, as far as my message to the young climbers are concerned, I would just like to say, one thing that, I find a whole lot of young climbers wanting to do the 7 summits, and which is more of a recreation climb. So I would just like to reach out and tell everyone that the best mountains are right here in our own country, okay? And I look forward to seeing, and I'm making a statement today on this show, and I've also spoken about this to the others. I would like to see someone in India, the first Indian who can manage to climb the highest peak in Arunachal, Sikkim, Uttarakhand, Ladakh, and Jammu and Kashmir. I look forward to seeing the first person who can actually do this fantastic effort. And the IMF will really look forward to it, rather than, going and climbing these mountains, because essentially there's a lot of commercial support. They are easy, and of course it costs a lot of money. But I would just like to say that the best mountains are right here in our backyard. So please come here and climb here and prove yourself here and really tell us that how good you are. Because every kind of challenge, from a big wall to a mixed climb to an imposing face, everything is right here with us in India. As far as the tour operators are concerned, I would just like to say that the best way for you to grow is to follow 2 things. Anyone who is coming to climb in India must be assured of 2 to 3 things. One is, of course, that it is a simple procedure, to get in permission. And that's where bodies like the IMF, in consonance with the state governments and the government of India, we come into play to make sure that portion is completely well taken care of. The second thing, when someone comes to India, he is to be assured that the safety is there. The basic search and rescue infrastructure is there. And we are there again to strengthen that arm. And the last bit, which I would again, tell anyone and everyone, whether it's a policymaker or a climber who's coming in, that environment is the mother of everything. Today, the word environment doesn't mean that you close an area and you lock up an area. You're actually denying the people who are living there. You're actually denying a generation who will really not know that what was there before that. So the idea is not to close down, but the idea is to regulate, to make it sustainable, so that somewhere in our quest to actually clamp down on people coming in, I feel that's not the right approach. So I think if we follow this simple procedures, we have the safety measures in place, and we have the environment concern along with the aspect of looking after the human element, which is essentially getting jobs and generating that economic activity for sustenance. I think we will have a very good sustainable model, because then we would be able to further build up and convey to the world that everything is in place here for you to come and explore the Indian Himalaya. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashok. In concluding, I will only say that you have listened to the panelists. India has got 28 states, and each state has got adventure possibilities. You can do land-based and air-based or water-based. And also, I would say that there is a huge opportunity in this country for promotion of adventure tourism. And I invite, on behalf of the entire adventure industry in this country, everyone to come and experience yourself how good, how great the whole area is. Mother Nature is here. We have Himalayas, we have desert, we have sea coast, we have everything what you need for promotion of this. And we are 12 months old destination, 12 months destination. Every month of the year, you can go to any of the activities. In fact, now because winter trekking is open up in even states like Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh and few places, you can come anywhere, every day you can travel everywhere around now. With these words, I must thank my fellow panelists. We had a great time. And we do hope that our business is the nature tourism, activity holidays, adventure tourism, same thing, called in different names, will progress and grow field. And we assure the industry that we will be careful, we'll work with sustainability, we'll ensure we love our mother nature, we'll see that everything we do keeps in mind that we have owed to our next generation a safe travel and a good environment. We leave it behind with us. With these words, I thank you, everyone, and I hope you had a good time. Back to Ashish, please.
Thank you, Sudesh. Thank you so very much. And to your panelists, thank you, Ashok. Thank you, Secretary Tourism. Thank you, Vishwas. The whole concept of the leadership panels was to give a message around the world and to bring together the industry and the government on a single platform and to build milestones for the future. This is a long journey and we will walk it together. Thank you so very much for sharing your time and for your messages. And once again, to all our viewers from around the world, we hope that you enjoyed this session and that you took back important learnings. We look forward to you in the next session. Please click on the next module. And for all of your questions and answers, it would be very nice if you could send them and share them with us, and we'll try and respond to them as fast as possible. This is Ashish, Consulting CEO of Faith. Thank you so much for listening in, and we look forward to you connecting to our next module. Thank you once again, speakers, and Sudesh, to your lovely panel. Namaste. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thanks.